All right, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed the lunch break. And did maybe a little walk, uh, eat, ate somewhat. Before the break, we talked about the CRPD and how it can how what kind of power it is and how we can improve the situation in which member states really take responsible of making democracy more inclusive. And the result is actually that we have to inform people, that we have stand up for our rights. And yeah, you can do that in different ways, and that's maybe a bit what the next session is about. How to increase the visibility and impact of persons with a disability in public life. And the coming hour, we will do different things. First, we get two introductions about politics and media, and then we will separate each other in three breakout rooms in which we can talk about this subject, about being political active and how inclusive the media is. And let's start with politics, and for that reason, Nick Bootsman joined us, and he's a member of a city council in the Netherlands, and he will give an introduction. The floor is yours, Nick.
Good afternoon. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my experiences in local politics and to talk about why it is so important for people with disabilities to become politically active. My experience in local politics has been in many ways twofold. It has been incredibly fulfilling. I love being active for my community, representing people, and yes, sometimes even being a figurehead to my people, someone who can show what is possible when a person with a disability steps up to serve. There is a unique satisfaction in being able to speak on behalf of those whose voices might not always be heard. But on the other hand, my journey has not been without challenges. I have faced barriers in places that are supposed to be welcoming to all. For example, council chambers are often not fully accessible. Work visits sometimes take me to locations that are difficult or sometimes impossible for me to navigate. And there is the constant risk of being labeled as that accessibility advocate, rather than being seen as a full participant in our council. These are real obstacles and they are frustrating sometimes. And being involved in politics also has consequences beyond accessibility. Engaging politically can affect social security, benefits, or income from welfare here in the Netherlands, which will add another layer of complexity for people with disabilities. Yet, despite these challenges, I would not trade my political engagement for anything. The experience, the impact, and the opportunity to represent others make every difficulty worthwhile. I truly believe that it is essential that people with disabilities become politically active. Only by being present and involved can we ensure that our society is truly represented. Decisions that affect our lives on accessibility, healthcare, education, inclusion, and more cannot be made without us at that table. To those who have not yet considered engaging in politics, I want to share this. It will be challenging. You will face inaccessible environments, bureaucratic hurdles, and societal perceptions that try to limit what you can do. But if you persevere, the rewards are extraordinary. Once you're in that role, once you are a politician, you have one of the most meaningful jobs imaginable. You get to be the voice for people who cannot speak as loudly or who may feel overlooked. You have the power to make a real change to ensure that everyone, regardless of ability, will be represented. Being politically active as a person with a disability is not just about advocating for accessibility. It's about showing that our perspectives matter, that we belong, and that we can contribute fully to society. It is about making politics a place where everyone's voice is valued. And I can say with complete certainty that there is no greater privilege than serving in this way. Being that voice for others is the most rewarding experience I ever had. So my message is simple. If you're considering getting involved in politics, take the leap. The journey will have challenges, but the impact you can make and the satisfaction you will feel is immeasurable. Our society needs us. And most importantly, the people we will represent need us to show up, speak up, and take the lead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nick. That's that's the introduction for the politics, and now we'll move on to media. And by media, we intend news media as well as popular media. And to introduce that, there is Francesca Videli, president of Fight the Stroke, an Italian organization, and the floor is yours, Francesca.
Thank you, Thais, and hello to everyone. I'll try to share my screen, so please let me know if it works, because you never know. You see?
Oh, yes. Yeah, there it
Is
is.
it working? Yeah, okay. Thank you. So the idea of these few minutes together is just to exchange some impressions and some data regarding how increasing visibility can come from an accurate use of media. These are some data coming from the Available 500. So it's a society which we belong to and whose aim is to end disability exclusion from the workplaces. So you see from this survey, 84% of surveyed individuals do not feel frequently and appropriately represented in advertising. And 62% of them indicate that regarding the specific disabilities, also the representation was not so appropriate both in TV and in film. And these on the middle are the words of Dr. Shani Danda. So she's a disability advocate. And she explained in very plain words the fact that how the fact of not being seen also and depicted in the media, what type of impact could have on her. So the fact that in 36 years she has never seen 5 disabled people of color on her screen. So this probably lets you feel like you're not represented because you are not seen, so you're not valuable. This can come as a conclusion. So we know that authentic representation matter, and it matters because can influence perceptions, but also can provide future opportunities of work, of being elected, for example, and inclusion for sure. So just imagine, I'm taking the words about an Italian perspective. In our country recently, people with autism, so autistic people are employed in certain cases in some restaurant, so in some pizzeria dedicated to this type of work. And due to the fact that many media also claims this type of news as an exceptional news, and you can see them in all of the news coverage. On the other hand, you can see that people with disability can think that they only valuable and they can only have the ambition to be hired as a pizza maker. But this is not the case. So we know that each of us is different from one another. So also the representation can influence our perception. And we know that historically, the disability storytelling was not the most appropriate because is very often a story of victims, or on the other hand, of inspiration porn. So we depict people with disability as real heroes or villains. And I think that part of this wrong representation has been driven since the beginning from the charities. So the fact that some charities who wanted years ago to advocate for the rights of people with disability actually they try to work on this pity side, let them erase those type of feelings in the audience, and so it come out as a wrong representation. Also, the fact that some of the actors in the media are not interpreted by true people with disability, but by actors who are mimicking the behavior of a certain disability. Or most recently, you see the meme era in which disability is represented as something that should give you an excuse to do or not to do a certain activity. So this was since a few years ago, but already still now we have this type of wrong representation of people with disability in the media. But most recently, we experienced that an authentic, accurate, and overall accessible storytelling can be possible. So last year, together with this environment of people, thanks to ICPS, we launched by the 3rd of December the movie Out of My Mind together with Disney Plus. And I think this is a new way of dealing with media content and with the right representation of people, in this case with cerebral palsy, also in the media. On the other hand, you see another virtuous example. This is Assume That I Can advertisement. It has been created 2 years ago by an Italian association who's called Core Down, but together with other international association. And I think that apart from the treatment that has won a lot of Cannes awards, even in the message, it's something that we should care of. So the fact that if you keep on presuming or assuming that people with disability, or in this case, people with Down syndrome, can or cannot do some specific action, so probably this can become true. So, and then we come to the representation of people with cerebral palsy. During the last years, it was very hard to have a unique voice as an international community of people advocating for people with cerebral palsy. But this year, we found a perfect trick, I would say, from a creative point of view. So we found Jack Hunter, who is a Scottish guy with cerebral palsy, but he's also a writer and a poet. And he wrote a poem, a piece of slam poetry on cerebral palsy. And we used this poem to tell a different story of different people and how they deal in their life with cerebral palsy. So it happened that this became our next advertisement. This is a global effort. Here there are some of the partners. I just mentioned Portugal, for example, which will sign this type of advertisement together with us. And in the occasion of the next World CP Day, which will be presented on the 6th of October at international level, we will also launch this new advertisement. So the title of the poem is You've Got to Be Ballsy to Have Cerebral Palsy, but the name of the campaign is More Than Palsy. So We wait also for your contribution to share this type of advertisement, and also to let other people think that people with disability, in this case with cerebral palsy, can have a different type of perception, but they can also lead, and they can also be employed or being elected also at European level. So that's everything from my side, but thank you, Thais. I'll stay here, so even for the next breakout sessions.
Yeah, thank you, Francesca. Indeed, we will go in 3 different breakout sessions chaired by me, Francesca, or Nick. And I'm asking John if he's ready with the breakout rooms. And let's get back then at 14:37. So you can.
Okay, I'm just going to spring you all out into different groups. I might need to move people around. I'm not sure that the group leaders that are going to be in of the.
Okay, I think we are back now. So we have discussed a bit about politics, news media, and popular media. And in my group, there were some interesting initiatives like um, uh, a group of people with a disability who said, well, if you don't change politics in a way that it's more inclusive, we will have a political party to make to ensure that. So that was a way in which other people really realized, well, we have to do something about it, and they had influence without really being a political party. And in news media, in my group, there was a statement that we don't only have to be visible ourselves, to really go on the street, talk to journalists, but also have something interesting so that journalists will come to us as well. Because if you have something interesting, journalists will be interested. And in the popular media, it's a bit more difficult because, yeah, you really want to sell a product or like that, but you can always make your own advertisement. So it was a brief discussion about those three things in my group. And Nick, how was it in your group?
Yeah, we discussed about being politically active and about disability advocacy and about how those two can be intertwined sometimes and how important representation is both in the media and in politics, because we agreed that when you here in the Netherlands, the thing is when you see people with disability in the media, it's about they talk about disability, and that needs to change. And in politics, when you are in politics as a disabled person, you don't need to talk about accessibility all the time because you're a politician, and you also have other fields of interests. In my case, building, mobility, and that kind of things. So yeah, it's important to have that representation to let the world see people with disabilities are more than their disability. I think that was it.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. And Francesca, how did your group talk?
Yes, we had in our group representative from Albania, Slovenia, Croatia, Netherlands, Greece, Finland, and Italy. So we were pretty mixed in terms of European coverage. At the beginning, Agnes and Luca expressed their opinion about and shared their experience about being from one side a candidate and on the other side a voter. I also share my own experience when I was a candidate, and I felt a bit of exploited for being the one who brought the votes, of the community of people with disabilities. And then in the second part of our conversation, we listened the experience from Elizabeth, Shemi, Susanna, and Salvatore about media representation, and it seems that there are still a lot of work to be done because especially in terms of how we feel represented, it's not the right way. I just want to close with the words of Salvatore, who mentioned that recently in the case of Davide, he was interviewed in a newspaper, and he was resembled to Stephen Hawkins just because he was a researcher with a disability. So this idea of always trying to depict people with disability or like superheroes or those who need for help.
Yeah, yeah. So am I summarizing well by saying that we might not change everything and everyone, but we can change it a bit by being visible ourselves as well.
Yeah,
So
we can start at least.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's a good point to take with in the next little break, which is happening now. So I have it so 14 or 43, and we will get back at 3 o'clock. So we have like a 50 minutes a break. And again, thank you to Nick, Francesca, to Nick and Francesca. Thank you very much.
No,
Okay.
thanks. It was nice being here and being able to talk to you all. And I wish you the best of luck with the continuation of this session.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
We see
And
then.
Thank you. Can I
I
just,
see you,
before everybody leaves to the break, do you think
yeah.
it'd be possible just to switch everybody's cameras on for a group photo?
Yeah, if everyone agrees,
If you
because
don't switch your camera on, you won't appear. So that's the way to
yeah,
do it.
It's almost everyone. Maybe we need more 10 people who needs to put the camera if it's possible. I will give maybe 20 seconds to do that. It's good. It's good to see some faces, some new faces, and to remember others. Maybe I will take the picture now because there are people who didn't have the opportunity to put the camera. I will do some photos. Smile if you want. I will take one more photo. If you want to arrange your hair or something, you still have time. No, okay. I will take another one. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Fabio. And now the break starts. So at 3 o'clock